And so it came to pass that in times gone by the mighty hero Avenger found himself ensnared in the webs of the great spider Nulak. It would not end like this, however, for the pieces were arranged on the board for one final showdown between the representatives of the many gods of Orb themselves. This then shall be the final confrontation, and all hangs in the balance for good or ill. A battle that goes beyond the physical and into the spiritual realm, a harrowing experience from which few shall escape unscathed, and yet one endures, one upon whom our hopes hang. He is Avenger. He is Ninja. I am Ninja. My parents are the heaven and the earth. My home is my body. My power is loyalty. My magic is training. My life and my death is breathing. My body is control. My eyes are the sun and the moon. My ears are sensitivity. My laws are self-protection. My strength is adaptability. My ambition is taking every opportunity with fullness. My friend is my mind. My enemy is carelessness. My protection is right action. My weapons are everything that exists. My strategy is one foot in front of the other. My trust is in quality. My way is the way of the tiger. Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more of The Way of the Tiger. Now, I got quite sleepy and slept on the sofa for most of the night, so I don't know how much time I've got available to me to record until I have to end the episode. That being said, I've got a feeling I'm pretty near to the end of the adventure at this point. Last session, we found an auto kill. First one I've stumbled across in this playthrough, and that's pretty good going. However, it was also fairly obvious, with the amount of healing in between fights, that if I were to replay the book, I'd pretty much arrive back at the same point, in the same state as I was before, maybe missing a point or two of health. So I'm actually literally going to go back a couple of sections to the beginning of the encounter with the Mind Maggot, just after denouncing the false Nagishi and breaking out of the illusion of Arachnil's mad mental chaos. And I'm going to go again. Now, we had a spiritual score of around 28. I've left this note from last time because I'll be repeating that choice. This number 3 is for section 3 we were at the start of the previous episode. And we had 19 endurance and 4 points of inner force. Let's get back to it. You materialize in a large circular chamber with no apparent exits, lit by a radiant orb glowing white in the ceiling. You see that any vestige of being insubstantial has now gone from you as you flex your hands. You may split your remaining spirit score into endurance and inner force, dividing them up as you see fit, but having no more than 4 in inner force, and between 1 and 20 endurance, if you have any points spared. they are lost. You may then cross out your spirit score and use once more all your skills, items, and modifiers as before you entered Fortuna's cave. Now, it has occurred to me, last time I took the endurance points and inner force to mean healing, restoring lost points. But actually, I'm going back to section 3 here for a moment. Come on. Okay, it is this side of the picture. Great. You must add your current endurance and inner force. Your total becomes your spirit score, which you should record in your character sheet. This does not make it clear that you should also erase your endurance and inner force. My impression was that spirit score is a new separate score which starts as the total of these two. But actually, we are being instructed here that these cease to exist and become the spirit score. So essentially, if we had a spirit score as low as 6 at this point, and we chose to put 5 into inner force, not that we could, because we're not allowed to put more than 4 into, put 4 into inner force, we'd only have 2 endurance. With our 28, essentially we have a little bit of healing. So instead of me last time saying, oh, I'll put 1 in endurance and then I don't have the rest, it's more, no, I put 20 in endurance and 4 in inner force and have none left. So there we go. In the middle of the chamber, a large shape shimmers into your sight, a gigantic glistening brain pulsing on the rock floor. As you look on, its ridges shift to reveal they are not connected. The brain slowly uncoils itself like a snake to a long, sinuous form, its hideous head grey and spongy, having 2 dark slits left for eyes, with no other facial features. It speaks directly to your mind. I was sent by the gods of evil, Avenger, to bar you from escaping through Fortuna's way. During your time in the spirit world, I have acted as a conduit between your mind and the abyss, manifesting your greatest foes in that realm. Now, though, it is you and I who must settle matters here to play our part in the reordering of the gods. It twists its head as Dore and Glaivas materialize in the room, preparing to attack the creature alongside you. It seems that they too have overcome their own ordeals against this spiteful entity. You think a throw will not be of use against such a being. Now last time we threw a shuriken at the Mind Maggot, and I will remember this time to mark another one off because I'm pretty sure we had 4 left at this point. We will not turn our back on them because at least one of these is an imposter. Must admit that Honoric illustration there is a pretty good one compared to the other Honoric illustration in here. You hurl your shuriken, which is lost as it embeds itself into the blubbery flesh of the Mind Maggot, drawing some grey blood from the pulpy mass near its head. Note that you have injured the Mind Maggot. Dore stumbles at the injury, and you realize that he seems somehow symbiotically linked to with your opponent. Another Dore materializes into the room. Presumably this is the real one, as he attacks his double, who seems to follow the unspoken direction of the Mind Maggot as if a mindless simulacrum. The fiend's tail seeks to whip you. Your defense against this is 10. You know what? I'll roll it. We'll see how it goes. Get that dice roller up. 8. We're good. If it is successful, which it was not, you will lose 1 die plus 1 of endurance, which is quite a bit. If you live, you see Glaivas has struck the Mind Maggot on the side of its long body with his sword, also drawing blood. The long, segmented tail of the Mind Maggot wraps around him, though, and squeezes. And then I believe section 97 here is where we made a fatal mistake. An aperture opens up along the Mind Maggot's long body, and a much smaller version of itself squelches out in a burst of foul-smelling air. It slithers towards you and then suddenly launches itself into the air. If you have the skill of arrow cutting, you grab it mid-flight, which we did. You must then try and twist its head off. I'm skipping this because it didn't get us. Its defense against your attack is 5, and none of your modifiers apply. So, a 3. Oh dear! If you do not succeed, the Mind Maggot has been bought time to assault you. For every time you fail to finish off the Mind Maggot's progeny, you must roll 1 die. If you roll a 4, 5, or 6, you must either expend 1 point of inner force or lose 1 die of endurance from a psionic blast from the Mind Maggot itself. Well, obviously last time we defeated the Maggotling. Okay, yeah, so 1d6, I'll take the damage, 5 points. Fair enough. And then we'll go back to 2 dice and fail again. Wow. We're taking damage. We're taking 5 points. Ow, that's actually a bit serious now. I think we'll have to use inner force next time. Although, maybe there'll be no next time as we roll a... Okay, you see this? You see all this rolling? 1 minute. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. It's stuck on low rolls. Right. Okay, that should have reset the dice roller. Because it seems to be stuck on rolls, I'll pay a point of inner force. You know, take the loss, essentially. And then we roll a 12 and rip the thing's head off. Now, we can hurl the blood of Nil into the eyes of the Mind Maggot, toss the blood of Nil over to Glaivas to use, or do what we did last time and leap onto its head and punch it between the eyes. Now, we should remember when we threw a ninja star, it's got soft, spongy skin. So, concussive force from pummeling blows won't be very effective. And teamwork makes the dream work. So we're going to toss the blood of Nil over to Glaivas. He's in a different position. He might be able to throw it into... Oh, it doesn't have a mouth, does it? Well, I'm sure he can do something. And he was here when it was mentioned, so he knows what it is. You toss the blood of Nil over to Glaivas. Remove it from your character sheet, who slices it with his blade over the wound he has caused the creature. Ah, slices the bottle. Like, literally holds the bottle over the wound and just slashes his sword across. The sword blessed by a paladin, no less. We will remove the blood of Nil. The glass bottle shatters and there is black smoke where the poison comes into contact with the Mind Maggot's open flesh, causing the creature to quiver and thrash. The simulacrum of Roche of Dore disappears, so freeing the real Dore to attack the creature with a cry of "For Roche of All!" and cleave the head of the Mind Maggot with his sword. As he does so, you see the remainder of your party from the rift appearing in the room, but the scene before you is already dissolving. Almost as if we were still in the madness of Arachnil. Wait. Arachnil sounds too much like a spider. What was the Chaos God called? I think it probably was still Arachnil. Right. You stand before a gleaming archway, a gateway to the 7 heavens where cherubs flit to and fro, leading on to a silver path. Standing before the gate is the guardian angel, white and gleaming. If you have been here before, for your training allows you to set your mind free of your body. Now you are no mere spirit form, though, for you have your body, and you are weighed down, made immovable by it. The guardian angel speaks simply. Those with corporeal forms do not belong here. I will send you back to the place where the eyes of all the gods fell upon you. And then, Landimion. You find yourself drawn back to the world in a rush of ethereal air. What is this even doing here? It feels very disjointed. It feels like an excuse to reuse the angel artwork from Book 2. This isn't necessarily bad art for an angel. I think the eyebrows look a bit too antagonistic. It's similar to the way the crusading guardian angel appeared last time. Just bring this up so we can look at it. Legs do feel a bit... perspective on the legs up to like the knees. This feels further back, this feels further forwards. It's a bit odd. Anyway, it does feel as if we're still playing through a repeated highlight reel of the series so far. Ghosts of the Past. Yeah, this was one of the... let's not go there just yet. One of the illustrations from a new version of Book 5. You lie prone on the grass, skin tingling in the wind and with sunlight spilling over you. You stand and revel for a moment in the expanse of sky above, a welcome respite from the dark press of rocks in the rift, and from the illusory other plane you found yourself in. You have been sent to a hill overlooking the countryside. The scene before you is hauntingly familiar, arguably that of your greatest triumph. You stand on the green ridge overlooking the battlefield where your army defeated the Legion of the Sword of Doom, the followers of Vash Ro. In the distance you can see smoke rising from the chimneys of the village of Bridgebeam, and as your eyes trace the land over to Hartwig Fell's farm, you can still relive the cries of the dying and the thunder of your cavalry on the charge. Now the land is scored by great trenches that serve as graves to the fallen, completed by the local villages since your army had to march quickly back to the city. There is nothing for you here except the ghosts of the past, and yet you stay a moment longer in contemplation. We have played Book 5 Warbringer. We did not slay Honoric, as we were too exhausted dealing with the illusory giant monstrous foe that the elves sunk into the mud so that it was unable to attack us. So he escaped us. Even though in the old book there was a way of turning that round so that you were able to pursue again, which is not possible in the new one. In one of them, I think it's either the new one or the old one, you're able to regain the ability to pursue. Bizarrely. Nearly there. Your sharp-eyed gaze is drawn to a lone figure sitting by the wickerwood a good distance away. You approach in case it is one of your companions from the rift, but as you near, you see it is someone else entirely. It is a great bull of a man, but where once he bore armour, he now wears clothes of ragged grey cloth. His eyes have turned black. He is clearly blind and seems oblivious to your presence. At his hip is a sword in its sheath, but it is not his magical blade, Sorcerak. Still, this is unmistakably Honoric, the evil general of the war god Vash Ro, he who sows for the Reaper, the man who rode alongside Yemen to bind gods of good in Inferno, the marshal who survived even the blood of Nil, and led the Legion of the Sword of Doom against your city. He is eating mushrooms he has foraged from the forest. We could challenge him into combat, telling him there is no one to interrupt us this time. Slip behind him and garrote him. Engage him in conversation or leave and continue to Earthman cast. Okay, the eyes being black is very unusual for a blind person. They normally sort of go cloudy, milky white. So something, I suspect, has happened. Additionally, even if blind, he is a masterful combatant. He is a highly skilled warrior, but he's missing his magic sword. I don't think we should challenge him to combat. That's what he would do to us. We could slip behind him and garrote him, trying for the quick kill. Is it necessary? He's already defeated. If we leave him be, we're just hopefully avoiding the encounter. I think we should discover what brings him back here to this, the location of his ignominious defeat. If we treat him as a lesser threat and engage him in conversation. Let's do that. You announce yourself. Avenger, he says, sightless head unmoving. Then he chortles. Oh, so the gods are cruel enough to send you to finish me. Be quick, then. You ask him what happened to him. What happened? I led the cream of doom over on a long march, only to be defeated by a ragtag rabble led by a man who worships that babbler of half-truths, Quan. My humiliation was complete. None would follow me. I can't complain about my punishment. I have put out a man's eyes for far less. You say nothing. I don't think his eyes are dark. I think dark eye sockets in his eyes have been removed. Come on then, assassin. Why do you wait? Take your revenge and be done with it. We could challenge him to combat, garrote him. Ask him why he returned here. Or ask him where his blade Sorcerak is. Both of these are good questions. First off, his sword is missing. Presumably taken by whoever slew him. Well, whoever put out his eyes. And this illustration we see down here, a few pages further on, has the name of Mandrake, the assassin, upon it. In his disguise as Parsifal, a monk. And he claimed that he had nasty things in store for the city in the future. If Mandrake has returned to Orb and has taken the sword, I think asking him why he returned here is far more important. Like, what are you doing here? But asking him where the sword is, he'd say, I don't have it, it was taken away from me, right? But if he can tell us who has it, that's very important. We shall inquire about Sorcerak, the enchanted blade. That not only is a firm ward against magic, but also can be hurled and returned to its attacker's hands. There's a healthy Honoric with lots of rain. I think this might even be from a new book 1, actually. Sorcerak is lost to me, Honoric says. The blade only stays with the strong. You think it was my own men who blinded me? No, it was the blade, for I outlived my use to it. I was discarded as easily as a warrior does a whetstone when it comes to battle. You ask him where the blade is now. It found another host. Of that you can be sure, Avenger. Oh, and it will remember you. One day you will awaken with that sword in your gut. It was forged in an age ago, in the garden of the gods, and sent by Vashro himself to be washed up on the stony shores of the endless sea. It is eternal, and against it you will fall. I imagine if we asked him what he was doing here. So yes, this was the I don't have it answer. Then we would not have also been able to ask about the sword, but we have our answer. We'll leave him be and continue on, because Honoric is a bully. He likes to throw his weight around, he likes to feel strong and important. He's a very skilled and effective bully, but a bully all the same. And he is a warrior. He wants a warrior's death. He wants to feel important and powerful. And if we come within arm's reach, even without his eyes, he can probably still murder us. The most crushing defeat he can experience here is if we just walk away. Him standing there shouting, "Fight me! Fight me!" demanding for significance. To get the feeling that we don't even deem him worthy of defeat. That is the true defeat right there. So we will leave him be and continue on. He's blind, so if he wants to throw something, he better have pretty good senses about him. He's already defeated for the most part. I mean, yeah, he could conspire with some kind of enemy later on, but for now, he's done. And I think this is the last part he plays in our tale. His sword, on the other hand, may be another matter. Oh, that's a very large picture, taking up a lot of page space. They must have needed to fill half a page or so. You turn and set off at a jog for Ersmancast and home. It took your army several days to march from the battlefield back to Ersmancast, but without all the paraphernalia of an army, you make far quicker progress across the verdant countryside. You feel a lightness in your stride, almost a return to your training days running on the island of tranquil dreams with the weight of command and expectation lifted from you. As night falls, you find yourself a stone outcrop on the outskirts of a forest and sleep lightly. You awaken shortly before the dawn and jog on. And bearing in mind this was written by British authors, jog on has become recent slang in the last 15-20 years for fuck off. You know, keep on, jog on. It's yeah, so we jog on, do we? Okay. You travel on throughout the next day, stopping only for water and to pick some apples from the forest to eat. You may store up to 4 lost endurance for all the rest taken on your journey. We shall absolutely do that, and that will take us back up to 14 points. By the end of the day, an uplifting sight on the horizon lends vigour to your weary stride. The dull red walls of Ersmancast nigh edge, the last city of man before the rift. You change out of your ninja costume and into some threadbare clothes of a commoner, whilst carrying the royal sceptre somewhere about our person. It's not long enough we could shove it up our... It's not short enough we could shove it up our arse, but it's somewhere. Maybe we pretend we got a stiff leg or something. You walk past the farmland and meadows of various coloured plants used in dyes, joining the last of the peasants returning to the city through the great south gate. They pass underneath the triumphal arch, commemorating the victories of the people of the city over the forces of the rift, and you allow yourself a wry smile at your successful return. Against all the odds, you have made it home. A half-dozen half-orc guards armed with pikes oversee the entrance to the city under the watchful gaze of 2 shield maidens of Dharma. We can announce ourselves to the gate guard and ask for soldiers to escort us back to the palace. Or hide our identity, entering as humbly as we did when we first came upon the city. Right, so the half-orc guards could be hostile. The 2 shield maidens of Dharma will see to it that they are honourable. However, we were warned by Mandrake that the Chaos God, Anarkil, not Arachnil, that's it. Anarkil had done something nasty to the city in our absence, so let us have a care. We don't need to announce ourselves, the pomp and circumstance. We can simply arrive back at the palace and then announce that we have returned, like the sneaky ninja we are. And this will give us more of an opportunity to find out what, if anything, has occurred in our absence. They won't be looking for a simple peasant, if they're looking for me at all. You cut the skin above your left eyebrow with a fingernail and then place a hand over your eye. To the watching guards, you look as if you have accidentally cut yourself, and by cradling it, you hide the emerald orb that would mark you out. No one bars your progress as you enter the city, and you cannot help but muse that it seems like an age since you first entered the city barefoot, seeking your birthright. Oh, I like that picture. It's well lit, good use of light and shade, by which I don't mean light bits and dark bits. I mean the colour graduation between light and shade, the colour transitions from light to dark are very well done. You walk along the rutted road heading by the green, which is dark and empty at this time, pavilions closed for the night. The mood of the city seems calm, with a little revelry spilling out from a nearby inn. Also, if Doré Lejeune has returned to the city, he will not have done so in secret. He will have been very open about his arrival, and would presumably tell others of our return. So we don't need to. The streets are lit by lamps hanging outside houses, a duty of every citizen after sunset. Unusually, though, you do not see any patrols from the city garrison. We could head north to return to our private chambers in the palace, or head east to attend the late-night prayer service at the Temple of Quan to give thanks for our escape from the rift. Now, I think that means I'd better wrap it up here. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to end this episode here. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all in the next one, where, hopefully, I will have gone to the beginning of the book and extracted the big map of the city for use. This one, as it may be of great relevance in the next episode. I'll say bye for now, though, and see you all soon. Cheerio, everyone.